Most UK directors are way more financially trapped than they realise, and by the time that you figure it out, it's already too late and you could lose everything. HMRC is chasing over £44 billion worth of debt, and insolvencies in the UK are at the highest level in over a decade. Now, if you don't spot the traps early, you're going to end up cornered. No cash to pay anyone, no cash to sort any problems out, no room to negotiate, and no control over your company's future. So I'm going to dig into the 7 signs, and at any point, if you think that you need to speak to somebody from my team, click on the link section below. We'll call you today. First sign is you're behind with HMRC. Now, as of March 2025, so it's a little bit out of date, they were owed £44 billion in. Before COVID, it was sort of 15 to 20. That gap hasn't decreased since 2020. There's almost 1 million taxpayers on time to pay arrangements, okay? Now, why HMRC arrears trap you is because when you've got arrears, they're going to grow. You're going to get surcharges, you're going to get penalties, you're going to get late payment interest. And in addition to that, they've hired over 2,400 extra staff, and they've invested about £630 million into debt recovery. So there's more people phoning you, there's more letters coming out, and in addition, you've got enforcement agent visits are up. They turn up at your business and they pressure you to agree to repayments that I think sometimes you can't afford, okay? So you've got to be really, really careful when you're behind with HMRC, okay? The key thing is you've got to engage with them, you've got to speak to them, you've got to tell them what you can and what you can't do. Sign 2 is you're living on loans and credit cards. Now, it could still be a bounce back loan, could be a C-bills loan, could be a recovery loan, it could be a capital on tap, it could be funding circle, it could be Fleximize. You know, why this stuff traps you is it can be really, really expensive debt. Now, sometimes if you need debt to keep going, you've got to understand the difference between good debt and bad debt. If you are borrowing money to grow your business, that's a very different thing to borrowing money to pay wages next month. Borrowing money to pay off debt, okay? Another sign you've got problems is your overdraft's always maxed out. Like in the UK, SMEs, they owe about £17 billion in overdrafts and bank loans. And I'm seeing a lot more where banks are withdrawing overdraft facilities overnight. And the reason why that traps you is because you think that's your cash, but it's not, it's the bank's. And if the bank reviews and cuts the facilities, the rug is pulled instantly. And that generally triggers an immediate insolvency event because you can't pay your suppliers and you can't pay payroll. It's a really, really tough place to be. Another sign is you've got a big overdrawn director's loan account, the hidden killer. Now, many directors, they don't even know that the director's loan account is overdrawn because they don't understand the financial reports. That they don't know where to look for an overdrawn loan account on their accounts. They don't have management information, so they're just drawing money out of the business willy-nilly because that's what they need to survive and pay the bills. And I get that. But if you're not making enough profit or you're not tracking how much money you're making and you are taking out money when you need it, regardless of whether the company can afford it, that's causing a problem. And the reason it traps you because in insolvency, that becomes a personal debt. Like an insolvency practitioner can and will chase an overdrawn loan account extremely aggressively, okay? Now, you need to understand where your overdrawn loan account sits. And if you owe money to the company, what is your plan to repay it? And if you need to keep taking this money out of the company, but the company can't afford to pay that money, that fundamentally shows a problem in the business. And it's only going to get worse. Let me tell you, this is where people lose the house. If anything I've said to you so far has hit a nerve, go down to the comment section, click on that link. One of my team will call you today and offer you some free and impartial guidance on what your options are. Another sign you're trapped is you're juggling creditors. You're paying one supplier, ignoring another, robbing Peter to pay Paul, constantly asking for extensions, or worse, not speaking to them at all and burying your head in the sand. We touched on it earlier. You're getting credit just to pay off old debts. I mean, why this traps you? I mean, this can sort of borderline into wrongful trading. If you are just taking on debt to pay old debts, you're ignoring the fundamental problem that this business has. What it can also do as well is create preference payments that an insolvency practitioner is going to look into and sort of claw back. And if you don't do anything with your creditors, if you're not engaging with them honestly, they're going to end up winding you up through court. Now, winding up petitions this year have rose by 44% compared to pre-COVID averages. Now, HMRC are the ones that are always issuing more winding up petitions than anyone else. So, you've got to be really careful. Any of these issues are causing you sleepless nights. It's time to pick the phone up. I want to talk about sign number 7, you're afraid to open the post. Listen, I really understand this, okay? I was the guy who did not want to speak to my creditors, did not want to open up HMRC brown envelopes. I would ignore emails, refuse calls from suppliers, tell them I'm not in. And the problem is this is just fear, isn't it? And it leads to paralysis. And I used to think it will get better, it will, with positive thinking. But the longer that you delay picking the phone up to someone who can help you, the fewer options you've got left. Because if you become insolvent and you've got no hope of recovery, you've got insolvency processes like liquidation. And liquidation is like the end of the line for this company. You appoint an insolvency practitioner. The debts that are unsecured get written off, and you can start again. You could even buy your assets back. You've got a CVA, company voluntary arrangement, where you, if you've got a good business in amongst all this, and you've got some things that need protecting like licenses or registrations, you could look to do a formal negotiation with your creditors and essentially pay the debts over generally 5 years. You've got administration. It's another type of company closure, but you put the company into admin. There's a wall of protection around the company. No creditors can take action against you. And you can look to buy the business out of administration. But all of these take time. And if you don't act, you will run out of time. In 2025, over 25% of insolvencies were compulsory liquidations. And what that means is one of your creditors decided to wind your company up and it took the control away from the director. They waited too long and creditors forced the issue. Now, why are these traps closing faster now? I think there's a number of reasons. I mean, HMRC, we've touched on it. Their enforcement resources have massively increased. Insolvency practitioners are very, very aggressive when they're chasing directors' loan accounts. Banks are tightening lending. Creditors are losing patience. They're less tolerant. They are cutting down the creditor days. They are forcing people into liquidation faster than ever before. The collapse is real and it's faster. What took 12 months in 2019 is taking 3 to 6 months in 2025. And that's why directors feel trapped. The walls are closing in. Now, I want to try and talk to you about what you do about these problems. I mean, the first thing, and I always say, is you've got to face the numbers. Add up all your liabilities. Who do you owe money to? How much do you owe on that? How much on PAYE? What corporation tax? Have you got your returns up to date? And if you haven't got your returns up to date, just estimate what those returns will be. What do you owe suppliers? What do you owe in loans? And have a look at that director's loan account. Now, you're in if you don't have management information like Xero, QuickBooks, Free Agent, you're in trouble, right? Because you have no idea where your director's loan account sits today. And because you're probably relying on your last set of accounts that were a snapshot of your business 18 months ago. And if you've took money out of the business since that last set of accounts that isn't payroll, your overdrawn loan account has almost certainly gone up, okay? Don't guess these things, right? If you need some help, certainly with the director's loan account, click on that link today. One of my team will call you. It's in the description box below. Step 2, stop digging. No more robbing Peter to pay Paul, okay? Don't be taking money out of the company. If you believe that you have got no hope of recovering, I want to move you to step 3, which is act early. If your cash flow is unsustainable, if you reach out, you can explore things like liquidation, administration or a CVA before creditors escalate. Now step 4, get some advice. Pick the phone up to you. Pick the phone up to us today. Like, you need someone who works for you. That's what we do here. We put the director first. And step 5, remember, limited liability isn't unlimited protection. It only protects you if you play by the rules. If you ignore them, personal risks follow. So what are the signs that you are more financially trapped than you realise? You've got HMRC arrears. You are living on loans and overdrafts. You're maxed out in your overdraft. You've got an overdrawn loan account. You're juggling creditors, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're not opening the post. If any of these sound familiar, you're not just in a tight spot, you're in a trap. And traps get tighter the longer you wait. If you are a UK director and you recognise even one of these signs, don't ignore it today. Contact us at Director First. We'll explain your risks, we'll help protect you, we'll help educate you, and we'll hopefully help you find a way out before creditors close the door. Now, if you've enjoyed this video and you want to know more about overdrawn loan accounts, I want you to go there. It's going to tell you everything you need to know about overdrawn loan accounts, how to understand them, how to work them out, and what you can do about them if you've got one.